Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. And now, starting this August, a new venture from the Cellcast podcast, the Cellcast, the animated series. Throughout the month of August, Jacob and Drew will review the animated series Star Trek Lower Decks as it releases on CBS All Access. Join us, because resistance is futile. The Cellcast, the animated series. Every Tuesday on your favorite podcast catcher. New show, same RSS feed. To another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who is as swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of a raging fire, and mysterious as the dark side of the moon, Jacob!
Honestly, I don't know who he's talking about. Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who just, like Mushu is trying to prove himself that he is a noble guardian. Welcome, Drew.
Thanks, man. How are you doing today?
I have gotten soaked at work.
I imagine. I'm surprised you're not looking over here like a drowned puppy.
Well, literally, I got home, dropped off the stuff I bought, hopped in the shower, changed, came over here.
Alrighty.
And I was nibbling on stuff while I was, preparing. Oh, by the way, we do have a special guest tonight. A man who, if he was called into war and they had war bears, he would fit in perfectly with the bears. Welcome, Jim, from the Movie of the Week podcast.
It's nice to be back, guys. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, man. How are you doing?
I'm making it, physical issues and whatnot, but other than that, I guess I'm okay.
So, for those of you who are unaware yet, the reason Jim is here tonight, outside of we just like having him on the show from time to time.
Every once in a while.
We are doing a crossover special with the movies Mulan. So on this episode of the Cellcast, we're going to be reviewing the animated 1998 Mulan, while over on Movie of the Week podcast, we're going to do 2020's live action Mulan. So once you get done listening here, go check us out over there.
Yeah.
Very exciting things.
Indeed.
All right, so kind of like last time, because we kind of grilled you on the what is your favorites, what are your dislikes. Well, I'm going to do something a little different. What is your most disliked animated film or animated series?
Oh man, that's hard. There's so many bad ones. Wow.
See, I didn't have any trouble with this one.
I would have loved to have had notice on this one. Jeez. Most hated animated series. Or even animated film.
Yeah, animated film.
Jeez, I'm going blank. Hold on. Let me think of the ones y'all have done that I hated that y'all talked about. Oh,
he absolutely hates Thundercats.
I will just, okay, I could not tell you my favorite right now. I have no idea. There's so many bad ones and good ones out there. But one that I do not like that most people love is the Lego Batman movie, the modern one, not the original ones, but the ones that came out after the Lego movie.
Right.
That's my big anti for now, I guess. There are too many others, and I'd have to think about it for a minute. But yeah, that's the one that I often have to defend my hatred for. So let's go with that.
Well, admittedly, while I think we were fairly favorable to the movie, we did say it had its problems.
Yeah.
Sure. I think y'all were pretty good about it.
So what do you not like Lego the Batman movie?
As a comic fan, and hopefully on some more of your podcast episodes when you talk about some of the comic movies, the DC films at some point. Anyway, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But,
hey, there's one on the dice roll right now, I believe. So.
All right. Anyway, so like the biggest thing for me is the way they portray Batman. I get that they're being silly and whatnot, but it really is not an entertaining portrayal of Batman, and I find it very irritating and annoying. I mean, I think Arquette, what is it? Will Arquette? Will Arnett?
Will Arnett.
Yeah. Will Arnett, I think he does a good job voicing the character, but I think that the way they portray him is just irritating. And again, just I haven't gone back and watched it since because of how much it irritated me, and all the love for it just bothered me too, because I think Batman is such an interesting character. While he's not my favorite DC character or anything, I do think there is a lot of great depth to the character. And I think that movie just kind of goes, no, he's just this weird, crazy guy. So,
Fair enough.
All right. So another question would be, when it comes to modern cartoons, obviously we're children from the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
With modern cartoons like Thundercats Roar or Teen Titans Go, something like that, is made for a newer generation.
So, Wayne, where are you putting your cutoff age on this?
No. Be like it's more of
because in my mind, I kind of sort of go back to say, I pretty much start counting that around 2015.
Okay.
So what's the question?
So my question is to be like, what are your thoughts on, or would you consider watching those? Because I remember I've watched a little bit of Teen Titans Go. I've watched a little bit of Thundercats Roar. They actually came out with a full season of it, which I was very surprised they did. So what are your thoughts on more modern cartoons?
So with Teen Titans Go, if you've watched a lot of the original Teen Titans show that precedes it, they use the same voice actors, and they do. It is obviously done as a giant parody of the Teen Titans and comic books in general. There's a lot of good to it. Some of it's a little over the top, but it's a fun show. It's not my favorite. Steven Adventure style, Steven Universe style. Isn't that right?
Well, admittedly, Adventure Time is kind of the same
process. They kind of merge.
Yeah, Steven Universe, and then that Thundercats Roar. I watched several episodes of it, and I think, based on what I've seen, it looks like they're doing a pretty good job of trying to pay homage to the original Thundercat series.
Yeah.
Sure, the art's god-awful. But I think they do a really good job of making it seem similar. I just watched the entire 160, 130, however many episodes there are in that show. I just watched
the
all.
original?
Yeah, because of Hulu releasing it again. I just binge watched it all. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do a good job. In many ways, they do a better job of paying homage to the original than the anime style one, even though the other one is good. It's just very different.
Yeah. So. Okay, that's good, because more often than not, definitely with us older kids, let's say that millennials, older millennials, let's say
Well, I'm in that transitionary period, so I don't count myself as a millennial. I just got all the downsides of them.
But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, there are a lot of things about these cartoons that are just mind-numbingly silly. But sometimes they do a good job, especially when they're trying to pull in an audience of the older generation. Or the older generation oftentimes are the people who are the parents to the kids who are watching these shows. So, kind of like the whole thing we talked about with Sonic when we did Movie of the Week. So, yeah, I mean, you have parents who watch the original shows and then the kids who are watching the new ones now. So, sure, some of it is weird and crazy, but, I'm sure our parents thought the same thing.
Oh yeah. Because I guarantee.
I mean, I grew up watching Power Rangers. I don't know what my parents were thinking.
I get that.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Oh, easy one. What's your favorite anime, Jim?
Oh God, favorite anime. You're just trolling. I think at this point.
I am. You're welcome.
Because. If you don't know, I'm not a huge anime fan, guys. I mean, the only ones that I watch with any regularity would be like Dragon Ball Z and the Dragon Ball series. I mean, I don't think I'm finished with Super. I think I probably have a few episodes left. I had to wait for it all to dub. But
I feel your pain there.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy some of that, but a lot of that's nostalgia and the people I hung out with in high school. But yeah, I guess Dragon Ball Z is my favorite anime because I actually watch it. So, other than that, you could also say Thundercats being an anime.
Well, technically yes and no. It's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I
hybrid.
know. That's why it's good. It's got a little American in it instead of just the classic Japanese anime style. So, it's good and bad. I think there are a lot of great animes out there, and if I sat down and watched some, I forgot. I also am a big fan of the Disney anime movies by what's his name?
Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
Miyazaki that we do a month of every year.
Right. Some of those films are good. I have seen a few of those, not several, 2 or 3, and I haven't been disappointed with any of them. They're very enjoyable. So,
which one do you remember? Which ones?
Spirited Away.
Fair. Not my favorite, but fair.
What's the one with the mask floating person thing?
That's Spirited Away.
That Spirited Away. I wasn't certain. I think I saw. Is it Floating Castle or Howling Castle?
There's a Howl's Moving Castle, and then there's Castle in the Sky.
Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah. And I think there's another one, but it's been a minute. I haven't seen them in probably 15 years or whatever it feels like. So.
Well, if you got HBO Max, you can go back and take a look at a bunch of them because they're all over there.
Yeah,
or a lot of them are.
At some point, I still got to finish all the Thundercats though, the other seasons, other series.
So, with you just mentioned HBO Max, will you be watching the Snyder Cut Justice League when it comes out?
Me?
Wait,
yes.
we're not watching this for the podcast? I assumed we were.
We definitely should. But that means we also have to watch the other ones and kind of talk about. We could do that though. We can make
that's easily enough.
Yeah, that could. That'll work.
I was planning on rewatching them all before that anyway. So
yeah, we should do that. I'm all for that. Definitely want to watch a 3-hour Snyder cut just to see how.
It's 4 hours.
Sorry,
it's 4 hours.
4-hour Snyder cut. So shoot, it could be good. But I do like Joss Whedon, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the ultimate version of BVS did fix a lot of the problems I originally had with Batman vs Superman.
That's what I've heard.
So maybe this will fix most of the problems I had with Justice League. Even though I actually enjoyed Justice League, but I think I enjoyed it because it was a Marvel movie in DC clothing.
Well, I will tell you, when I went back and rewatched Justice League...
and admittedly, I have not watched it since it was in theaters.
Yeah,
so.
I watched it the first time, and I didn't remember most of it, and I went back and rewatched it. And it was better. I'm not going to say it was amazing, but it was a decent film. It just wasn't great. So
right. All right. I think that gets us to the end of that part.
I think so.
So quickly, Jacob, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Well, obviously I watched Mulan. I watched live action Mulan. I was at a retreat over the weekend and had this massive entertainment room. And so I watched one episode of the original Thundercats, Thundercats Kid for Life, and then I watched the first 2 episodes, which make up the pilot for the 2011 series. I watched that. I wound up watching last week because we had, I had issues because I was getting off caffeine withdrawals. So, so that's why you didn't get a episode last week,
but you'll get that
episode.
You will get that episode next week because we are going to actually record that Spies in Disguise episode next week.
Yeah, I did get around to watching the movie Ferdinand from Blue Sky, and turns out I actually have 3 copies of this movie already.
I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not.
Knowing Jacob, that sounds very right.
Hey!
Well, I do know in the box that we got our Spies in Disguise thing in from Disney Movie Club, it came with Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming is the disc he opened.
Yes. So the funny thing about my 3 copies of Ferdinand, I have the copy I got from, I think it was Black Friday. I bought it at Walmart for like dirt cheap on DVD, I think. And I'd forgotten I got an amazing gift from somebody I know full of movies. It had Ferdinand in it. I completely forgot it had it.
Well, at least you only bought it a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always go ahead and take those down to Game Exchange or Half Price and get at least a little bit of that money back.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you can always do an episode on Ferdinand and give some away. That's always fun.
Yeah.
That is true.
Or you could give one to me because I haven't seen it either. So
okay, I would highly recommend it. It's a really good movie. And
what is it about?
Which is odd for Blue Sky.
Ferdinand is about a matador bull that doesn't want to be a Matador Bull. He wants to go around and smell flowers.
Oh, it's based on the book. Okay.
Yeah, it's based off the book.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised John Cena actually does a very good job.
Yeah, that can be
Exactly.
surprising.
Yeah, like some wrestlers can't act. And Dwayne Johnson.
That's
And
true.
Dave Bautista.
Yeah, Dave Bautista. Yes, can definitely very well act. So I think that's all I've seen so far. I know last week we I remember watched a little bit of like Tiger Mask or something like that.
We didn't watch Tiger Mask last time. We watched more of what one of those guys called Captain Idiot.
Oh yeah, Captain Tyler. That's right.
Yeah,
That is an hilarious
Irresponsible Captain Tyler might be my favorite anime at this point.
Yeah, it's quite funny. It's quite funny. Other than that, what else have I watched? Not off the top of my head. Oh yeah, Bill and Ted.
I was wondering if you're going to
Face
bring
Music.
that one up.
Yes, Bill and Ted Face Music, which we'll be doing a review on
Maybe sometime.
at some point with Movie of the Week podcast.
Yeah, I just have to see it. So I think
Chip's
I'm the
gotta
only
see
one
it
holding
first.
out. So
It's like, come on, man. Be like, it just came in the theaters. That's all you gotta do is go down to the theater
Well, I
and
mean,
watch it.
literally, I texted him and says, "Hey, do you want to hang it? You want to go watch Bill and Ted at 3:20?" And he said, "Sure." I says, "Okay, you need to be over here by 2:30 because that's when I'm leaving."
yeah, if they were showing it here, I would totally have watched it already. Well, maybe this week I've kind of been without eyes, so
Yeah, that'd
but,
be kind of hard to watch a movie.
Well,
Just a
I
little.
think I can see well enough. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna either it'll get here or I'll end up driving down there or something. So or up there,
All
I
right.
guess.
So, what have you been watching, Drew?
Well, I have been on a bit of a movie set because I got to look and realize, I'm 3 movies behind you on the thing, or at least I was when I started this.
Yes.
And plus, 2 weeks ago, theaters around here were just starting to open up. So,
He's been at it.
the first Saturday I had available, I went into town and I just picked the first movie that looked interesting that I hadn't seen before, which was Tesla. That is the most surreal movie I have ever watched. I'm not going to say don't watch it. Go form your own opinion, but I am never going to purchase this movie. I'll put it that way. And of course, like he said, Bill and Ted Face the Music we watched. And then in preparation for the episode we're going to do next week, I watched Spies in Disguise. And then I remembered one night when I got home that a certain Disney Channel television series had a new movie releasing on Disney Plus one night.
Mm-hmm.
Phineas and Ferb the movie, Candace Against the Universe. If you like Phineas and Ferb, go watch this. In fact, I'm probably preaching to the choir. You probably already have seen it if you like Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
It is a great ending to the franchise, to the story anyway. I still think they have a way they can come back, but pretty much it cleans everything up and everything's feels like it's cleaned up right before it moves into what is the name of that other show that's technically a sequel? That's Weird Al does the voice for. Milo Murphy's Law, which I haven't watched yet. But yeah, I watched that and I had a good time with it. And then I watched the first 2 Halloween Town movies, which were Disney Channel original movies back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Those were goofy, but
Of
they were
course.
fun. You know, you don't go into something like that expecting a deep, serious story. But I watched those 2 and enjoyed that. And then also this last weekend, I braved the movie theater to watch the last Fox X-Men movie, The New Mutants. I don't think this is coming up on Movie of the Week podcast anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. We had talked about it, but it just wasn't going to work out.
So am I free to fully review this?
Sure, go ahead.
It is complete and utter garbage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In fact, okay, when we came out, my mom told me I think that's the worst Marvel movie we've ever seen. And I said, Mama, I'll top you on that. That's the worst superhero movie we ever seen.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
The new Hellboy that you hate with a passion
Oh, yeah.
is better than
Ow.
this movie.
Challenge accepted.
I'm not saying don't go watch it. Like I said earlier, form your own opinion. But I thought this is the worst ending to this universe they could do. And I know partly it's just because it happens to be the last one, although Dark Phoenix was not much better.
Yeah.
But, and it's a shame it's ending like this. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, the franchise ended with Logan. But I did go watch it. It is pretty bad. I don't suggest it, but still, you go form your own opinion.
Yeah.
People could think differently than I did, though reviews are not showing that. So, yeah, that is what I've been watching.
So that is interesting, because New Mutants was in production almost 2 years ago.
More than that.
It was in production 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It was that long ago?
That's when it entered production.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it and Dark Phoenix entered production around the same time.
Oh, wow.
They were designed to come out concurrently.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah, it's been on the shelf.
Wow.
And it's been delayed hundreds of times.
Yeah, it was delayed. It had reshoots.
And those didn't help it.
The only Yeah, there are only a few things that have been delayed more from the Marvel Universe at all, even in Fox. And that would be like the original Fantastic Four movie, which never came out. And what's the...
that original Fantastic Four movie was kept being made just so they could keep the rights.
Oh, yeah,
I
know.
That's why the Roger Corman version got made.
I'm being a bit facetious on that. But the other one would be like the New Warriors TV show that they kind of canned that was supposed to come out. So, yeah. They were going to have Squirrel Girl and everything.
Really?
Well, maybe we'll get Squirrel Girl again.
Yeah, it was supposed to be...
Those rights are free and clear now.
All the AT&T commercials.
I could take that. She could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see her beat up Doctor Doom, though, in her first appearance, because that's the only way that should start off.
I don't know. Dr. Doom.
I mean, we got to get Doctor Doom in the universe first, but
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. It's true.
along with the rest of the Fantastic Four.
True.
So what have you been watching, Jim?
Oh, well, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of Thundercats. Me and my wife finished watching the Doom Patrol, the second season of that. I kind of started rewatching The Brave and the Bold with Diedrich Bader as Batman, which I still like to hold.
That's a good one.
It is one of the best, and in many ways it might be the best Batman animated series. I know, I love the animated series from the 90s too, but man, that one's so good.
It's a different show, though.
Yeah, because it's a extra hero of the week kind of style.
Yeah.
But man, it's so good. I think mostly that I've watched a ton of movies always. I try to keep up with the DC animated films. I just got the what's the name of it? Deathstroke film, Knights and Dragons or whatever. And I haven't watched it yet. It's sitting near the TV waiting to be watched. And but I watched most of the other ones. I think at this point, I've seen them all except for that one.
Okay.
Well, I did forget that I was currently watching two different series. There again, I have all 4 seasons of Batman the Animated Series. I'm into season 4. In season 4, The New Adventures, which is very the design is very different. Let's say that it's very different. Don't get me wrong; it's a very interesting design. It's just like, okay, we had Poison Ivy who looked like this, and then she looks like she's half dead. Oh, either way, watching that, and I popped in just because I was trying to find something that I've watched numerous times before, and I was just like something just to keep my mind busy or something like that. And
That's
so I
a
popped
long
in.
list.
Yes, that is a long list. I popped in Gundam Wing from 1994, 95, one of those.
That would have probably been the original Japanese time it came out, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Well, technically...
I mean, I didn't see it till like 2000, 2001.
Yeah, well, it's simulcast, both.
Right.
It was the first English dub that was being simulcast at the same time as the Japanese release.
Yeah, but I don't remember it till, like, I was in junior high, which would have been 98, 99.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, watching that. But, yeah, that's basically all I've been watching. And I think everybody else is done with their watching.
Yes, so what do we got in the news?
Okay. Not a whole lot. I think last week we did mention, if I remember correctly.
Not last week, but...
Yeah, the week before. I think we mentioned it, but it's worth repeating again. Joe Rubert. He was one of the guys who created Scooby-Doo. Mm-hmm. One of the designers. He passed away back on August 31st. Back on 31st. So, yeah. Maria, you'll be missed. All right, so going into news. So all I have right now is actually just two. It's two movies that are coming out. The official teaser trailer for the highly anticipated animated feature Walkers has arrived.
Walkers?
Yeah, Walkers. Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
WLLK. Walkers. Walkers.
Odd. I have never heard of this.
Yeah, me either.
They say it's highly anticipated. I ain't never heard of it.
Yeah, apparently.
What's the American name for this thing? It's not going to sell over here.
Yeah, Walt Walkers. That's what it's called. It's an exclusive with Apple TV Plus, and is following its theatrical run through G Kids. An Apple original film, Walt Walkers is the latest in a two-time. Yeah, either way, there's a new movie coming out on Apple TV Plus, and so if you're interested, if you have Apple TV Plus, be like, go check it out.
Okay.
Because I'm going to get severely tongue-tied if I try to say this even further. All right, and so this is more of a TV movie that seems to be concluding a very long-running series that has something to do with changing into different aliens 10 times.
Has this series been rebooted about that many times?
Yeah, roughly.
And had a bad live-action movie that tried to take the movie, the title of one of the worst movies ever made, Manos Hands of Fate, and turn it into a weird kind of item for them to have to fight.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, one of the live action movies, they have to stop an item being used called Manos the Hands of Fate, which was a movie, live action movie made in El Paso that was made because somebody lost a bet.
Oh, okay. All right, so for those of you who are wondering, it'd be like, now what are these guys talking about? Okay, so
Ben 10.
Ben 10, of course. Cartoon Network's Ben 10, quite literally, they're doing Ben 10 versus the Universe. The movie premieres worldwide Saturday, October 10th. The TV movie will be available for fans across the globe in the U.S. Canada area, which will air at 6 p.m. Only on Cartoon Network. The film will also be a digital release October 11th on all major platforms, as well as DVD on October 13th through Warner Brothers Home Entertainment.
Okay.
All right, so that's all I've got in the news.
Hey, did you hear about, I don't know, have y'all seen the show Primal on Adult Swim?
No. I have not seen that.
Well, I just read that they were doing that they just got a second season. It's supposed to be a big thing. So it's made by the same guy who did Samurai Jack.
Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just looking
then
at
I'm sure it's good. It's just I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah,
I don't follow the Adult Swim stuff that much.
Right. It looks good. I haven't watched it, but I'd seen an article when I was looking at news the other day. And also, I don't know if you if this kind of fits. Powerpuff Girls. They're doing a
Powerpuff.
Sorry, Powerpuff Girls. That's what I meant to say.
To quote the ancient commercial from when it came out, there is no D.
Absolutely.
But there is a D in destroy, as in destroy them!
Yeah. They're getting a live action film. Or a live action series, sorry. Not a film. So we'll see how that goes, though. I don't know. I mean, but it seems appropriate to your channel, so I figured I would mention it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hadn't run across that one yet, but
yeah.
Cool.
I haven't heard about it yet, but okay.
I mean, I watched the anime version of Powerpuff Girls. How much different can this be?
Well, you never know.
No.
Live action remakes can go all sorts of ways.
Very true. Very true.
So, yeah.
Kind of like the movie we're going to review on Movie of the Week podcast.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, I mean, and look at comic book movies too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all
Yeah.
based on, half of those are based on cartoons. So,
True.
you know, or cartoon type themes. So, anyway, sorry.
Well, let's go ahead and move into the spoiler-free section of our review for the movie 1998's Mulan.
From Disney.
As opposed to who?
I don't know.
Warner
I
Some
don't know.
Brothers?
Anybody, somebody else, probably.
some third party foreign
Second
country
tier.
want to like try to make money off of it.
Yeah, there's
Because
bound to be
Mulan is
another
open
one.
license.
Admittedly, we do not have the asylum cut of Mulan.
The asylum cut?
Well, they make all the really bad fake movies to trick grandmas into buying movies for their kids.
That's right. Yeah.
Like Transmorphers and Beauty and the something, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
Well, there are other movies. There's The Secret of Mulan and some other ones apparently.
true. However, we are doing 1998's Disney's Mulan.
Thank you.
Jim, what are your spoiler-free thoughts on this movie?
I wish they would just re-release the Szechuan sauce from McDonald's. I mean, that's really what I want. As
you
far
know-
as
don't
Mulan
you
is concerned.
Do you not remember how much trouble that gay had a couple years ago?
Well, it worked the second time they did it. The first time it failed badly, but the second time they did it, it was really good. It worked out.
Actually, I'm
Oh
kind
my
of surprised
gosh.
McDonald's didn't do that for this release.
But yeah, that's what they ought to do. Spoiler.
Now, honestly, it was like when this movie came out, they had the Szechuan sauce came out because Jim was like, "Oh my gosh, best thing ever," and then it was gone away. Oh my gosh, he would not stop talking about it.
It's true.
You.
So you're saying the Rick and
Morty
meme was true?
Yes, I love
Okay.
Rick and Morty too. By the way, that's
I
a
haven't
great
seen
show.
Rick and Morty.
I haven't gotten into Rick and Morty.
It's
so.
one of those shows, especially with y'all.
I've
I don't think
tried.
y'all like
I
it,
have
but
tried,
but I
but I
will
can't
caution
do it.
you: survive 3 or 4 episodes first before you make a decision. First episode I watched, I was like, ugh. But yes, watch the first 3 episodes, enjoy, and then see how deep it is, and then decide whether you love or hate it. But yeah, it's very graphic and stuff too. So I can see.
Admittedly, with us watching Lower Decks, which is created by the same guy who created Rick and Morty, at least we understand his comedy.
Yeah, I meant to mention the Lower Decks too earlier. I watched that recently too. It's fantastic. I hated it at first, but then I rewatched the first episode and I kind of like it now. So
Yeah.
And for those curious, we will get back to releasing those. Just Labor Day kind of screwed up our plans.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to that probably within the next week or so. Anyway,
But anyway,
back to
spoiler-free
Mulan.
comments on Mulan. This movie is it's something I never watched as a kid. It came out after most of my favorite Disney films, so I kind of didn't care.
Back into the Renaissance.
Yeah, back in the old days.
Well, for some reason, I think this is true. Is like the Hunchback of Notre Dame is like that cutoff point. Almost nobody I know watched it when it first came out.
Yeah.
My cutoff
And
point was anything after Lion King, I think, pretty much.
Fair enough, because the only thing I know of off the top of my head that came out after that was Pocahontas.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a little too quote unquote girly for me at the time. So
It's understandable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this movie girly.
Yeah.
So, as far as this movie goes, though, it's got a good voice cast. Your voice actors are really good. It does have. It's based on a historical legend story passed down in.
Actually, it's a
in
poem.
China. Huh?
It's a poem.
Sure, a poem.
More on that in a minute.
Yeah, it's been written multiple times in different ways, but yeah, the poem probably is earliest. Word of mouth was probably before that. But
True.
yeah, I mean it's worth watching if you have kids, especially girls, and even boys. It'd be good for boys too. But I mean, this could be great for girls too. I think more than boys, because it is about women pushing against the system at times and about doing what they need to do and so on and so forth. But I won't get too much into that. But yeah, it's worth watching, and if you have kids, you definitely should watch it. So,
all right, Jacob, your spoiler-free thoughts.
All right, to quote Mushu, "Light me."
I think he just did. Get started. No, go.
I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I remember watching it when I was younger, and like Jim said, be like, "Oh, it's a girls' film." Be like, "This is not going to be it's not going to appeal to me." But
especially that first couple minutes.
Yeah, that's true. But after I watched it on Disney Plus on my tablet, so that was an interesting experience. And I really, really enjoyed it. I love the historical facts, but the historical setting, the actually playing into like having it set in the culture and having the cultural rules of the day, and about family honor and all that good stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed. I was oh my gosh, because I didn't quite realize that was in the film. Because honestly, when I was younger, I dismissed it.
Right.
But I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I literally found myself on the edge of my pillow watching it. I was like, "Oh, this is so good." But yeah, that's my spoiler-free talk. You?
The first time I was in the room while this was on, and I have to say it that way, is because it happened to be playing on a VHS on a projector in kind of a cafetorium, ironically here in Jacksonville, when I was down here for a either 7th or 8th grade, I don't remember which, but it was a band solo and ensemble contest, and they had it on the big screen for some unknown reason. Admittedly, I was focused on other things while it was on, so I didn't really watch it, but I was in the room at the time. I didn't watch this when it originally came out because, like I said earlier, The Hunchback of Notre Dame was really the first movie I didn't kind of go out of my way to go watch. Or didn't beg to go watch. Toy Story was another matter. Along with many... That's the thing, is I was fully on with Pixar, but Disney proper, I kind of like, around this time, I kind of moved away from.
Right.
So the first time I actually was around the story was within a certain video game that seems to keep coming up in the show.
I wonder what video game series this is.
Well, more on that later.
Yeah.
But I did not actually watch this movie properly for the first time until about 3 or 4 years ago when I rented the DVD through Netflix, through the mail. Back when that was still a thing I did regularly. And I watched it that way, and then I didn't see it again until a couple years ago when I just happened to say, I remember liking this movie. I especially remember liking one song in particular. Watch it again, and so when this movie was starting to come out for the live action one, I was all on board for us doing this double feature between the two podcasts. So,
but they got kind of cut back, pushed back.
Thanks,
Corona.
The day we were supposed to record this, the following day, I was supposed to be on a cruise ship.
Yep, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. That cruise will still happen later, but not this year.
So you'll go sailing away at some point?
Yes. Takes me away to where I'm going. Anyway, I remember I've enjoyed this movie multiple times. I do think it's probably... In my mind, I think I consider this underrated, but only because in my mind, from Pocahontas to Tangled, there seems to be a weird nebulous area where there were some good movies that came out from Disney, but they don't trigger in my mind as being big movies.
I think that's age.
Part of that is age, because I would have been in junior high and high school. One of the movies I do want to get on the list eventually was also from this era, which was Emperor's New Groove. And I first saw that my freshman year in high school, and then subsequently on a mission trip to Mexico, but that's beside the point.
Right.
This one just is one of those that kept falling behind. And I do know one of the reasons I searched this one out originally was because of the main actress in this movie.
Ming-Na Wen.
Ming-Na Wen, who I first discovered myself when I first watched Final Fantasy The Spirits Within back in 2002.
That's right.
Yeah.
More on that in a minute, because I found out some other interesting roles she was in. So, yeah, that's pretty much my spoiler-free thoughts. I remember enjoying it and looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Ming-Na Wen fan, like, big Ming-Na Wen fan. I've been a fan of her since I was a kid. So, yeah, totally on board with that.
Alrighty. Well, if we are ready to jump into the spoiler-filled section, I think we should go ahead and do that.
I think so.
You good with that, Jim?
I am fine with that.
Alrighty, so join us on the other side.
Oh, so I need to stop the recording, huh? I was like, I don't know, do you stop the recordings and then...
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Mulan. Listener discretion is advised. Mulan was directed by Tony Bancroft, who also would go on to direct something called Animal Crackers, and then was in the animation department on both Mary Poppins Returns and the upcoming movie Space Jam: The New Legacy. It was also directed by Barry Cook, who would go on to direct Arthur Christmas, and was actually directed the Roger Rabbit short Trail Mix-Up, which was the one you thought was new a couple episodes back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Right.
The writers on this, these are all the screenplay writers, because there was, like, all Disney movies from this era. They actually had about a very long list of writers, but I'm not including everybody. Just the screenplay. So, Rita Hisayo was one of the writers. She also wrote Toy Story 2. Chris Sanders, who would also go on to write Lilo and Stitch. Phil Lazabnik, who also wrote Pocahontas. And then Raymond Singer and Eugenia Bostwick Singer both helped write Joseph, King of Dreams for DreamWorks. And, of course, it is based on the Ballad of Mulan by Guo Maoqing, which I am probably said completely wrong. My apologies there. The music was handled by Jerry Goldsmith for the score. He did score to Star Trek The Motion Picture and The Secret of NIMH. And Dave Zippel wrote the lyrics to the songs, and he was also a lyricist for the movie Hercules. Getting into the cast, we've got, of course, Ming-Na Wen as Fa Mulan. She was Chun-Li in Street Fighter, Dr. Aki Ross in Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, and Melinda May in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And several other things too.
Which we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy plays Mushu, and along with being a fairly well-liked comedian, at least back in the 80s, he is also the voice of Donkey in Shrek.
Donkey!
Miguel Ferrer was the voice of Shan Yu, which was the leader of the Huns. In Iron Man 3, he was Vice President Rodriguez. And in all the Twin Peaks related franchise, he was FBI agent Albert Rosenfield, which I believe is the main protagonist of that franchise.
Don't get me lying.
Harvey Fierstein played Yao, which was the short, angry soldier. He was the voice of Frank, or he played Frank in Mrs. Doubtfire, and Marty Gilbert in Independence Day. Frida Fo Shen played Fa Li, who is Mulan's mother. And she didn't have much on her IMDb list, but the one I had to put on here was the Chinese food lady in Dude, Where's My Car? Literally has that many O's.
Oh, wow.
In how it's credited.
Okay.
That's one I probably should watch just to see how stupid it is. June Foray played Grandmother Fa. She was the voice of Wheezy and Lena Hyena in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Ah.
And Lucifer in Cinderella.
Lucifer.
That was the cat, for those of you who don't know. James Hong played Chi Fu. He was Mr. Ping in Kung Fu Panda, which was Poe's adopted father in that franchise.
Yeah.
And in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he played Melinda May's father, William May.
Huh.
And he's been in like 400 other roles.
True.
Yes, but I had to
He's
pick
like-
stuff.
Yeah, he's like one of the greatest Asian American actors, and there's currently a petition to get him on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, by the way.
I'm actually surprised he's not,
Yeah.
to be honest. Miriam Margolyes played the matchmaker, and she was Professor Pomona Sprout in the Harry Potter franchise. Pat Morita played the Emperor, and he is, of course, Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid, and Al in Happy Days. You know, the restaurant they're always at is called Al's Diner.
That's right, yeah.
Before the fat guy that replaced Pat Morita on there
Yeah.
took over, Pat Morita's name was Al, and he ran the diner.
Oh, okay. Wax on, wax off.
Pretty much. Soon Tek O played Fa Zhou, Mulan's father, and in The Man with the Golden Gun, he played a character named Hip. James Shigeta played General Lee, and in Die Hard, he played Takagi.
Oh.
The boss.
George Takei played the first ancestor, and he is, of course, Sulu on Star Trek. Jerry Tondo played Chien Po, which was the fat co-soldier. He played the character of Eddie in the 1988 series Beauty and the Beast.
Ah.
You know, the one that had Hellboy in it. Not the character Hellboy,
The
but
actor,
the actor.
Ron
Yeah,
Perlman.
Ron
Ron
Perlman.
Perlman.
Yeah, he played Beast in that one. Sorry, it just that his name just anyway. Getty Watanabe played Ling, the skinny soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Weird Al Yankovic classic UHF, he played Cooney. I'm guessing from the look on your face, Jacob, you've
I'm
never
so
seen
clueless what you're
UHF.
talking about.
Have you ever seen the clip where... well, no, you probably haven't seen Wheel of Fish.
No.
I will show you this clip off air, but
Okay.
it is funny.
Okay.
And that was the only major thing I saw he was in. B.D. Wong played Shang, and he has played Dr. Henry Wu in the Jurassic Park franchise. Our good buddy, Frank Welker.
Has he done anything in the animated world, Frank Welker?
A couple things.
How dare you,
Just a
man?
couple
How
things.
dare
Sorry,
you?
I had to ask.
And in this movie, he played Khan and Cricky.
Play the cricket.
He played the characters of Shao Kahn and Reptile in Mortal Kombat.
Get over here.
Leah Salonga was Mulan's singing voice, and she was also Jasmine's singing voice in Aladdin. And Donny Osmond was Shang's singing voice, and along with, of course, being a popular singer from the 70s and 80s with his sister Marie.
Mm-hmm.
In the music video for Weird Al Yankovic's song White and Nerdy, he was a background dancer.
Okie dokie then.
Last but not least, Jeff Bennett played an ancestor in an uncredited role. And he is our gateway into this week's Kingdom Hearts connection. As he played I just lost it on here. The Mayor of Halloween Town and Mr. Shmee in Kingdom Hearts 1. Merlin and Lumiere in Kingdom Hearts 2. Bashful in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. And the Large and Small Beagle Boys in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance.
Huh.
Also, Pat Morita, Ming-Na Wen, B.D. Wong, Frank Welker, Harvey Fierstein, Geddy Watanabe reprised their roles from Mulan in Kingdom Hearts 2. And Chris Sanders, of course, plays Stitch in both Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Figured you'd appreciate that.
Yes.
So that is the end of my cast list. What do we got in... What are we calling this thing now? Billing and stuff?
Info and stuff.
Info and stuff?
Info
I don't know.
and
We
stuff.
change the name of this section every week.
We do. Okay. So you can currently watch, if you're subscribed to Disney Plus or Netflix, you can go and watch this film on there.
Mhm.
You can rent it from iTunes, Amazon for $2.99, or on YouTube or any other platform for $3.99. On IMDb, it has a ranking of 7.6 out of 10, which is not bad. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a score of 86, which is, there again, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. All right, so production-wise, it was done Walt Disney Pictures and Walt Disney Feature Animation. Distribution was Buena Vista Pictures.
Mhm.
It was released on June 19th, 1998. Box office-wise, it had a budget of $90 million, estimated-wise. Opening weekend for America was $22.7 million, and its U.S. gross was $120.6 million. Its world domestic gross was $304.3 million. So yeah, it made its money back in spades.
Yeah.
All right, so home release. It was first released on VHS back in February 2nd, 1999, as part of the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection lineup. Mulan was released on DVD November 9th, 1999. Then in March 2013, Walt Disney Studio Entertainment released Mulan and Mulan 2, yes, it has a sequel, on Blu-ray and DVD in collaboration with the film's 15th anniversary.
Okay.
And they just recently, as you probably already know, they've just released the live-action Mulan on Disney Plus, which
on Premier Access.
On Premier Access, which costs you $30. And yeah, I'd say go watch it. It's good.
And
All
that's $30 with unlimited access.
Yes,
and it doesn't
exactly.
come out.
True.
It doesn't come out for everybody until December.
Yeah, until
So, yeah.
which is not bad if you
Yeah.
you look at it.
especially if you've got kids or a family who's going to watch it, it's a great way to do it. I know that a lot of people, if you're not big on it, waiting till December is not a big thing, though.
No.
But otherwise, if you want to watch it, $30, all you can watch it, and yeah, it's great.
Indeed. Getting into the plot summary for this movie. The Huns, who are led by the ruthless Shan Yu, invade the Imperial Han China by breaching the Great Wall. The Chinese Emperor orders a general mobilization with conscription notices requiring one man from each family to join the Chinese army. When Fa Mulan hears that her elderly father, Fa Zhou, the only man in their family and an army veteran, is going to war once more, she becomes anxious and apprehensive due to his weakening health. Taking her father's old armor and cutting her long hair, she disguises herself as a man so that she can enlist instead of her parent. The family quickly learns of her departure, and Mulan's grandmother prays to the family ancestors for Mulan's safety. The ancestors order their great stone dragon to protect Mulan. They send the small dragon Mushu, a disgraced former guardian, to awaken the stone dragon, but he accidentally destroys it in the process. Mushu conceals this from the ancestors and resolves to protect Mulan himself. Reporting to the training camp, Mulan is able to pass as a man, although her military skills are initially lacking. Mushu provides clumsy guidance to Mulan on how to behave like a man based on his poor judgment and stereotypical views. Under the command of Captain Li Shang, she and her fellow recruits, Yao, Ling, and Qian Po, gradually become trained warriors. Desiring to see Mulan succeed, Mushu creates a fake order from Shang's father, General Li, ordering Shang to follow the main Imperial army into the mountains. The reinforcements set out but arrive at a burnout encampment and discover that General Li and his troops have been massacred by the Huns. As the reinforcements solemnly leave the mountains, they are ambushed by the Huns, but Mulan cleverly uses a cannon to cause an avalanche, which buries most of the invaders. An enraged Shan Yu slashes her in the chest, and her deception is revealed when the wound is bandaged. Instead of executing Mulan as the law requires, Shang spares her life, but nonetheless expels her from the army. Mulan is left to follow alone as the recruits depart for the Imperial City to report the news of the Huns' destruction. However, it is discovered that several Hun warriors, including Shan Yu, have survived the avalanche, and Mulan catches sight of them as they make their way to the city, intent on capturing the Emperor. At the Imperial City, Mulan tries convincing Shang about Shan Yu's survival to no avail. The Huns capture the Emperor and seize the palace with Mulan's help. Yao, Ling, and Qianpo pose as concubines and are able to enter the palace. With the help of Shang, they defeat Shan Yu's men as Shang prevents Shan Yu from assassinating the Emperor. Mulan lures the Hun leader onto the roof after she engages him in single combat. Meanwhile, acting on Mulan's instructions and signal, Mushu fires a large skyrocket at Shan Yu. The rocket strikes and propels him into a fireworks launching tower where he dies in the resulting explosion. Mulan is initially reprimanded by the Emperor for having destroyed the palace and shamed the army and her family, but is unexpectedly praised by him and the assembled inhabitants of the city for having saved them, who bow to her in an unprecedented honor. While she accepts the crest of the Emperor and sword of Shan Yu as gifts, she politely declines the offer to be his advisor and asks to return to her family. Mulan returns home and presents these gifts to her father, who is overjoyed to have Mulan back safely. Having been enamored with Mulan, Shang soon arrives under the pretext of returning her helmet, but accepts the family's invitation to stay for dinner. Mushu is reinstated as a Fa family guardian by the ancestors amid a returning celebration. So, Jim, what is your like for this movie?
Well, the biggest thing I would say about this film that I really enjoy is just the way the story works. And I think they do a really good job of telling it. I think the fact that we get to see that Mulan comes from this position where she's told you have to, basically, your goal in life needs to be to honor the family by marrying and so on and so forth. And even though she's not predisposed to that, she plans to do so. But we do get to see her go out and become a warrior to save her father's life, essentially. And I love the way we get this. It's such a great empowerment story for women in this case. And I think that's one of the best things about this film. Because you're getting this, again, in a society where women are basically told they have to stay home, they're supposed to marry, have kids, etc. She goes out and proves that a woman can do whatever a man can do. In this film, and I think it's a really good story. I think it's fun. I think it's entertaining in that aspect, and I think it shows that even if men and women are different, women are able to do so many great things, and women can take that sort of combat leadership role, which we've struggled with as a world until the last century. I mean, really. That women can be anything they want to be, and I think it's a really empowering story for women. So that's my good for this.
All right, Jacob.
Mine would kind of follow on the same path that Jim did. It was more they kept with the culture of the time. They didn't go in and change things to make it more culturally relevant for today, the time in which it was released. They kept it within the historical limitations of that. I think the movie does a lot better. The new movie does a lot better, but I agree with Jim. The fact to be like must be like to honor your family, marry, have boys. The fact that Mulan does kind of buck against that tradition a little bit. She's still willing to do it, but when she finds that her father is too old and he can't do it anymore, so she dons his armor, cuts her hair, and goes into the army disguised as a guy. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy that aspect of it because you get that historical fact of Chinese culture.
Yeah,
Chinese culture. And I just want to be right when I say that. But yeah, that's the part I really enjoy is the historical facts they're using is like when she's discovered that she's a woman, be like, oh, she needs to be executed, but the general's like, no, be like he lets her go, be like exile.
She had just saved his life, so
yeah, exactly.
He saved her life.
Exactly. Be like, it'd be like, this debt has already been paid.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, Jake. I was gonna say, yeah, just along with you. I mean, so often we see movies where they go back into historical settings and they try to brush over a lot of what we would call the sad facts of history.
Yeah,
like they
exactly.
go, oh, they would act like men and women were considered equals.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
that time, even if they weren't. And this time, we're talking about a period where there was obviously a difference between the way men and women were allowed to do things. Yeah. So, I mean, it is a good thing that we see that, especially when the story is trying to tell you that things can be different and better.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of where I'm at because of the historical fact they kept to it where previously probably wouldn't have. And so they kind of took that chance. It's like, okay, let's make a historical, faux accurate movie. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly historical.
Sure, not accurate.
Not
but yeah.
at all, but it's still a really
accurate in theme, if not in historical.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, yeah. Other than that, it's a really, really good movie.
Okay.
What's yours?
I have been a Jerry Goldsmith fan since I first heard Star Trek: The Motion Pictures, way back when I was little. So, as I was going back through here, I kind of had it pegged. This was a Jerry Goldsmith score, and I absolutely love the score from beginning to end. It keeps that Asian feel without being very stereotypical about it.
Yeah,
and it leads directly into the musical aspect of the musical songs very easily. I mean, admittedly, I'm not sure how well the musical aspect of this movie works. It's one of the reasons why I do understand why the live action movie that just came out steered away from that. Mm-hmm. But that being said, this movie does have one of the greatest training montages in animation history.
True.
With I'll Make a Man Out of You, sung by Donny Osmond, of all people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This is a fun song. It's really the only one of the lyricized songs I kind of like, because Mulan's song at the beginning, when will the girl, I don't remember the name of it, but the one where she's singing about when will the girl I see in the reflection be me?
Oh, Reflections.
I couldn't remember the name of it. While that's pretty, it just doesn't speak to me that much.
Okay.
The other song with the army, A Girl Worth Fighting For.
Yeah.
It makes sense in context.
It's catchy.
I'm fairly certain a similar song was in South Pacific. In that musical.
Probably.
In fact, I'm fairly certain it was, because I'm fairly certain I had to sing it in a competition. Now that I think about it. But it really does. It just really kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere, and it ends like just as you're having fun, it ends with that burned out village. It's like, okay. But yeah, we get to the score. It's a great action score, which is not what you expect for what is presented as a Disney princess movie.
Yeah.
Which we've discussed this before. I don't know if we've actually recorded this discussion at any time, but I still don't consider Mulan a princess, even though I know officially she is. Mm-hmm. According to the Disney marketing team.
Right.
And the fact that she shows up with the rest of the princesses in Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah.
But I think that's just for inclusivity.
I think so, too.
Agreed.
She does not... Pocahontas and Moana make sense why you would consider those princesses, because they're at least the daughter of their village chiefs. They are in an equivalent role.
Right.
Mulan, on the other hand... the closest thing in this movie she gets to a love interest is General Shang. And he's just a general in the army. He does not appear to have any noble blood in him whatsoever that we are aware of, other than his father's a great general, and he might have... I don't know exactly how the Chinese nobility works.
Yeah. I would assume that there's some nobility in his family, maybe, but...
Right, but he's not in the royal lineage.
Yeah, no.
In any way. So, I don't think you can count her as a princess for that fact, and that's one of those weird things that bugs me, but that's also beside the point. Because I just do this is... I don't know if I'd go out and buy the soundtrack to this one, because like I said, there's only one of the musical songs I actually like, and I don't think the score would work too well listening to it by itself. But in context of the movie, I think it works great, and it's one of the best aspects of this movie, in my opinion. So, that's my like. Before we move on to dislikes, does anybody have an additional like?
I mentioned it earlier, but I want to go ahead and double down on the cast. Again, we've got a lot of good voice actors in here. Again, Ming-Na Wen is fantastic as usual. James Hong, Harvey Fierstein, and just so many others. They do a really good job of bringing the whole thing together. Now, again, it's an animated Disney film. It's not as complex as some other stuff, but I think they do a really good job of portraying what they're trying to do. And I think it works. I think that's, if I was going to add another like, that's one of my favorites. Having Ming-Na Wen in it made me want to watch it. So,
I really enjoyed Eddie Murphy's performance as Mushu. I really,
he does have a lot of great lines.
He does have a lot of great lines. It'd be like, just, oh my gosh. I can't think of any right now on the top of my head.
Dishonor on your house, dishonor on your cow.
There's the limp noodle.
Yes. Yeah, the limp noodle.
Yeah, I mean.
Or when he wakes up, I live! Dragon, not lizard. I don't do that tongue thing.
But it sounds like Eddie Murphy was having a great time doing this performance. And I just really enjoyed his performance. I love the character. There's a lot of redemption in this movie. Like a lot of redemption. You have Eddie Murphy's character of Mushu, his redemption of being a guardian again, of Mulan almost kind of be like getting back her family's honor in a way for all of her heroism or
heroicism.
Heroicism. There we go. That's the word.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's the word.
I know I was getting words mixed up. I was like, wait, what word is it now?
It's a tough word.
It's a tough word. Yes.
Words are hard, as another podcast I listen to says.
Either way, be like, it's got a lot of redemption arcs into it, and the line that got me at the very end of watching this the original was to be like, what was the father's last line? He says my greatest honor is having a daughter like you. And I was just like, part of me was like, that was so good. It's so well done. The movie is so well done, executed, and I enjoyed it. I will probably wind up picking this up from movie Disney
Movie Club.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about this movie until we get the dislikes.
I do want to go ahead and bring up our villain, Shen Yu.
Shen Yu, yeah.
He is admittedly kind of a mustache twirly villain, evil for evil's sake.
Yeah,
he's kind of this unrelenting force that's coming down, but he is so brilliant in his plans.
Oh yeah.
The fact that he literally wants China to know he's there, so he makes sure that the thing gets lit before he leaves the Great Wall.
Yeah.
The fact that he wants them to think that that China won that battle on the mountain, so that he could sneak in to kill the Emperor, because that's all he wants to do is kill the Emperor. He really is not worried about anybody else. So I love him in this as the villain. If I have a problem with him, to kind of transition us somewhat into our dislikes.
Okay.
I hate his black corneas
Okay.
and yellow pupils.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, look, I know the guy is evil. Does he have to look this evil? And it's not just him. All of the Huns have this problem. What disease attacked these guys?
Liver issues, apparently.
Must be
liver issue. That's
to
what I
make
thought.
their. It's not. I think cornea is the wrong word, but the white should be the whites of their eyes turn pitch black, but their pupils turn yellow. What are they? Werewolves?
Maybe a little lycanthropy in there.
Maybe so. Go with a live action movie. We know at least one of those characters is an animal human hybrid and can transform.
But let's save that for the
Let's-
Movie of the Week
Yes,
podcast.
let's save that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are. While I enjoy them as villains, I really hate the character designs for our villains.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. I understand that.
I just wish. I wish he had more human eyes. Is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And I wish he had a little bit more. He wasn't so barbarian looking.
Yeah.
But that's part of me wanting, because I am of the thought your hero's only as good as your villain.
Yeah.
And admittedly, Mulan's villain is not Shen Yu, however you say his name.
Shen Yu.
That's really not her villain. Her villain is expectations of women in Chinese culture.
True.
But he is still the villain of the movie.
Yeah.
And I kind of just wish they'd have treated him a little bit better. That's all.
Okay.
I want him to be intelligent. He feels, as smart as he is, he still kind of acts like a barbarian. And I know that's generally how the Chinese look at at the Huns, but still.
No, that's what the Romans looked at barbarians. Be like,
Yeah.
The word barbarian goes from a bar.
Anyway. Jim, since I kind of jumped ahead of
You're
you
fine.
on dislikes, what
You're
is your
fine.
dislike for the film?
Okay, so if you told me that Ming-Na Wen and Eddie Murphy were doing a musical and it'd be filled with action, this is not what I would have expected. But really, I think I was just disappointed with Eddie Murphy's performance. I thought he was underwhelming. I get that you like him, Jacob, but
Yeah.
I found Mushu to be one of the weak parts to this film. I didn't feel
I
that he
understand that.
Mm-hmm.
helped me that much. Maybe if I watched it when I was younger, it would have helped. But it's not uncommon for a Disney film to have a weird comedy role in something like that.
Weird psychic character.
This is
Yeah.
at the same time where Genie worked so well for Aladdin, they wanted
Exactly.
another Genie-like character
Yeah.
in it. That's why.
Makes sense.
That's essentially what Mushu is here for. He's the funny
Sure.
comedian they hired to play a kooky character.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and Eddie Murphy is a phenomenal comic. I'm a big fan, and I would love to have seen him have more of a role. But in this film, I felt like it was unnecessary. And again, they're probably doing it just to get more of that Genie style magic from before. But this is not the movie for it. I think that he's basically there to be like a little bit of help here and there, and maybe almost an advisor. But it doesn't feel like he fulfills that role very well. Anyway, that would be my biggest complaint. The only other thing I would say, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this in anyway, is I wish they used more bows in this film. Like the Asiatic composite bow is what the Huns are known for, and what fighting at the time is all about. The horse bow, as a lot of people call it, the Hun bow, as a lot of people call it. I would have loved to have seen more of that, but that's my big complaint, really.
Okay.
All right.
Jacob,
So-
dislikes.
Mine doesn't really have to do with anything with the film.
Love those dislikes.
Mine is the simple fact that Mulan is not a princess. And she has been.
Why
labeled-
was I not surprised you bring this up after I brought it up?
Yeah, thank you. And be like, I was like,
Misappropriation.
That's what I didn't like about the movie.
Jacob and his complaints about the misappropriation of royal titles, I think, is becoming a new thing. I mean, even when we were talking about the Kingsman too, Jacob was complaining about royalty and the systems of royalty.
Line and everything. It's just like, that's not how it works. But it's like I think it was Jim who brought it up, that it's like, yeah, because you just want Mulan to be like, it's like, oh, she's part of the Disney the princess crew.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I totally understand, But from a historical standpoint, she's not a princess. There's nowhere near on Earth the entire movie that there is no lineage anywhere. Like, I had this weirdest dream.
I mean, heck, Alice from Alice in Wonderland has a better chance of being a princess than Mulan does.
Exactly.
Disney likes to hand out tiaras like Disney likes to hand out tiaras like rolls at Golden Corral. I'm just saying, everybody gets one with a purchase.
That is true. You get a crown. You get a crown. You get a crown.
Yeah, Oprah.
Right, exactly.
And yet they still won't give it to Vanellope.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
I don't know who that is. So
the Vanellope von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh,
come on!
Yeah,
she is a princess.
Come on,
she has a Disney princess song.
Yes.
She needs a princess.
Yes.
They need to put her in the toy line. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. It was I had the weirdest dream. I think it was like just before I left for the retreat. I had this. I thought it was real. I was talking with Jim, and he said, he had just watched the movie and said, "Oh, by the way, they've changed Mulan to being the Emperor's daughter."
No. That's not a weird dream. Thursday, I told you that.
Oh,
see, there you go.
Was wrong.
Okay, well, never mind.
I will admit this because something I read had said, some synopsis I read had mentioned her being the Emperor's daughter, and I don't know where I read that.
Yeah.
So I will ask for your forgiveness.
You are most welcome.
For that. Pop.
See, but Jacob couldn't even believe you would actually say it, Drew.
Yes, that's how ridiculous it is.
He had to pretend I said it in a dream in order for it to make any sense. So there you go.
No, but actually, I did have a dream about it that Jim said it, and I forgot what you said.
Okay,
and then
apparently it was in your subconscious.
Yeah, apparently. So I was watching. I was waiting for this movie. It's like, okay, when are you gonna do it? When are you gonna do it? Oh, they didn't do it. Yay! So yeah, my big complaint is Mulan is not a princess. Yes, you want to make her a princess, but historically, you cannot make her a princess unless you make her royalty or line to the throne of the emperor or something like that.
Well, aren't they all sister wives with what's his name, Prince Charming or something in Disneyland? Isn't that kind of how it all works?
No.
Anyway?
I never thought of the princesses as Mormon.
Yep. That's it. Well, they all married to Disney Mouse. Mickey Mouse and the princesses. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's not a king.
About that.
Well, he's the king of Disneyland.
Anyway, I do have I do have a nitpick for this.
Uh-oh. A nitpick.
A nitpick, yes. I understand why they did this, but it also does not make sense in context. When she wakes up at the camp, her tent is not with everybody else's tent.
Yeah.
It's off to itself. So that conveniently, she can get dressed and look like a man before she enters camp.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how this would have worked.
That doesn't work. If you look at militarily wise, that wouldn't work.
Exactly.
Well, I think there was the only argument I think I can make against that is, don't they say that they already packed up and moved?
No, this is the first day. The only thing that had happened at the camp prior to this point is she checked in with the three amigos there.
Yeah.
And she was late.
And had the fight, and they had to, clean up? I'm thinking I get this confused with the next movie, with the actual live action. But they got into the fight, and they all got in trouble, and so the next day they were going to start training, because it's right after that scene with the tent that we get into make a man out of you. But her tent
is way off.
Is way off to the side behind a rock.
Uh-huh.
So, they can't even see her tent from the camp.
Uh-huh.
And they allowed that to happen?
Yeah.
As far as they know, she's just another guy.
Yeah. Why would he have
Why
tent?
would he get special treatment?
Yeah.
Disney.
I understand. Disney. Like I said, I understand why it happened, because you want to, especially in the late 90s, you want to curve away from the idea that something that wasn't insidious happened to her.
Yes.
You want to keep a bit of modesty. I understand that.
Right.
At the same time, we are talking about a movie that essentially deals with a cross-dressing woman joining the army. As far as they know, she's a man.
Right.
So she would be with the rest of the camp, not off to the side.
Yeah, true.
If she got lucky, maybe she was behind behind a pole or something that maybe blocked it, but that's as close as you're going to get.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a nitpick, because honestly, it doesn't affect the story. So.
Right. Yeah, that's a nitpick.
Yeah. Anybody got anything else?
I think I'm good.
And you,
I
Jacob?
can't think of anything.
I think I'm good, actually.
All right, well then let's get into our ratings. Of course, we use a 10-point scale. So, Jim, what is your rating for this movie?
All right, this was kind of hard to come to. I'm trying to look at it as unbiased as possible and whatnot. And I tried to rate it before I watched the other one, just
Fair.
to kind of get an idea. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I feel like it is an okay movie. It's fine. It does a good job in some ways, but it really wasn't for me. And it, if I was a kid, I think I would have enjoyed it more, or if I was a girl, or who knows what. But I would say that for me, I felt like this really wasn't for me, but it was entertaining at points. So while it didn't have any major this is a bad movie, I thought it was put together pretty well. Again, I thought Eddie Murphy was a little downplayed maybe, or upplayed, or whatever. It just didn't feel right to me. And I felt like there was a lot of good to the film. I just felt like it never got past a 6. I think it wasn't a C movie is really the best place, I think, for it. I wouldn't call it much better than that. But yeah, 6.
Jacob?
All right, so I'll give it a little more than Jim did. I'll give it an 8. 8.0.
That's a little?
That's a little higher. A little bit. It's
Yeah,
8. It's 2 points.
2 whole points.
I really enjoyed it. There again, when I was a kid, I didn't really get to see it that much. I saw it and it was like, oh, it's a girl's film. And now as an adult, as a lover of animation and an animation movie critic, I really enjoyed the movie. Really enjoyed it. It's got a great story. Historically, it holds true to a lot of things of the period. Definitely within the culture. I love Mulan's story from wanting to honor her family, but then going in, becoming a warrior, and saving China. I like Mushu. I do see Jim's points. I still enjoy him as character. Like all the characters, the songs they're catchy. They're like, there's a lot of them that are not absolutely rememberable, like you said before. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, I've had a reflection in my head for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, or like a week and a half. But I really enjoyed the film, and like I said, once I get a chance, I'm gonna buy this thing because I enjoyed it that much.
Okay.
What about you, Drew?
I'm gonna have to give this one a 7. So I'm cutting the spread between the two, y'all.
I got you.
There are so many movies, especially within Disney's catalog, that I would rate higher than this, and it's not just because of nostalgia. But this one just does not speak to, like Jim said, it just doesn't speak to me.
Okay.
It's a good story. I don't really have much. I can't really connect with the main character very well in this one, which might be the problem with most of the quote-unquote princess movies. Mm-hmm. But generally, in many of the others, there's usually another character I can connect with. In this case, there really isn't, because the closest might be Mushu or General Lee, or General Shang. It's really not a movie for me. I can't rate it much lower than I can't really rate it lower than the 7, because honestly, I could not find a fault in the animation anywhere. Because I was looking, I'm always looking, and there was the animation was competent, so I can't really dock it for that. The only things I can really dock it for is, as much as I like the music, all but 1 or 2 songs, like you said, is mostly forgettable. and the comedy sometimes hits and it sometimes doesn't. For the most part, I actually do find Mushu annoying, except for a couple of his lines. I can't really rate it much higher, but I definitely can't rate it any lower. So I'm gonna just, cut the spread and hit 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's competently done. I mean, the special, the digital effects look good.
Yeah.
Everything seems like a good movie. I have no problem with it as a film. I think that people should watch it. I think that it's good enough that everyone should probably show it to their kids and give them a chance to see if they like
Agreed.
it. At the very least, it's a little bit more diverse than some of the others as far as what we normally get out of Disney films.
Agreed.
So, I mean, it does what it's trying to do. As again, I think Drew said it just as well as I did, if not better. But I'm not the target audience, I think, at this point. And, while I'm not saying that boys will not get anything from this, I think for girls especially, it's a very much a women empowerment type film.
True.
And it doesn't do a bad job of it either. So, I mean, it's not one of those where they make all men look horrible and stupid. So, it's good.
Yeah.
And I do have to appreciate this being one of the last... This is like within 10 years, I think, of the last of the Caps era of Disney animation. So it's not long. It's, 2005 when Chicken Little comes out?
Something like that.
And it's 2 years when Dinosaur comes out, which was Walt Disney Animation Studios' first 3D one, which I never watched.
Me either.
But I know it's at 2000, and then the next 3D is Chicken Little.
Yeah.
And honestly, outside of Emperor's New Groove and Lilo and Stitch, I can't think of a movie after Mulan that's 2D that was that good.
Well, also you have, I might be mistaken, but I think Tarzan came out in 1999.
Yeah, Tarzan did come out in 99. I didn't include it for a reason.
Well, never mind then.
Also, Hercules came out, I think, in 2000. I think. I might have that wrong. I know it came out after this, and it's good. It's just
Hercules.
You can tell we are in the final eras of Disney's focus on 2D animation.
Yeah.
And I can't help but appreciate how good this film looks in that era.
Yeah. So, Hercules came out in 1997.
Okay,
so it came out a year before this film.
Okay.
And the last film of the Disney Renaissance was actually Tarzan. Tarzan was the last movie of the Disney Renaissance. Officially.
Even though Disney can't actually produce anything with the Tarzan logo on it anymore.
No.
Because all that's still owned by the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate.
Yep.
True.
And they've already rescinded the license to Disney, and all Disney can now do is release stuff they've already made with Tarzan connected to it.
Right.
Because other people are using it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of this episode.
I think so.
Come, Jacob, we must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy.
Jim, where can we find more stuff from you?
Well, as usual, the best places to find stuff from me are on Facebook and Twitter, and that's at Passive Creative. You can also find me at Passive Creator on Instagram. As we've said earlier, the Movie of the Week podcast, it's on Facebook, Twitter, and wherever you find your podcasts. And I'm doing a few other projects, but most of them aren't going as well as I'd like to. You can also look for The Real Movie News on Facebook, where me and a buddy try to keep the news going for movie stuff. We also do a podcast, but we haven't done much of it lately, and a couple other projects are coming down the chain. But for right now, that's really all I've got.
Yeah, and his webcomic's not that bad either.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
actually very funny. Actually,
it's very stupid.
It is stupid, but it's funny.
It takes a while to get into it, but yes.
Yeah,
I need to get back into it.
A month. No, I just reached a year, I think, with that. So it's been fun doing one.
Congratulations on that.
Appreciate that. But that's the haphazardly thrown together webcomic, and you can find that on Webtoons and on Tapas, as well as on Facebook. You can look up the Haphazard comic. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So where can they find you, Jacob?
They can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron and Jacob's Daily Art Corner, my personal art Facebook page. On Twitter at Jacob B. Heron, on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, and on Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. Where can they find you, Drew?
You can find me on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. You can also find my Facebook page at Drew's Photo Bin, where I upload my photography. You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759 and Twitter at GGeorge759. Where can they find us, Jacob?
You can also visit our website, thecellcast.podbean.com, where you will find every episode we released and links to listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. Our RSS feed, if we aren't in your favorite podcast app directory, please share, review, and subscribe to us there and share us with your friends.
You will also find a link to our Facebook group, the Double Feature Podcast Community, where we talk about both animated and live-action movies. We share this with our other podcasts, which we do with Jacob's brother Jim, at the Movie of the Week podcast, where we talk about live-action movies. You can also email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. Also, please like our page on Facebook. We try to post about upcoming movies. If you comment on that movie's post before we record, we'll read your comments in the episode. And remember, every time we say The Cellcast, that is with a single L.